But baby girl, she's at the park again. Why are we at the park again? Because I'm not working right now. Why am I not working right now? I kind of got fired. So yeah, I kind of got fired. Came into work on a Friday, was brought into another office, handed some papers saying that I'd been terminated. I was at the end of my 1-year probationary period, and the chief did not want me to stick around. So, at the 1-year probationary period, the chief apparently didn't like me, and I know I didn't like me. I'll tell you that in a moment. And he said that I was not going to be continue working there. Mind you, he was a chicken shit little coward who handed it off to a couple of his subordinates on a Friday afternoon after he had already gone home for the weekend, right before a holiday week. What a fucking chicken shit asshole. I said it multiple times because I'll tell you about the complaints here in a second. But I filed multiple complaints against the chief, and in every one of them I put that he was a mercurial, thin-skinned, petty, and vindictive, well, I didn't say asshole in him, but I wanted to, and I stand by that. There's a baby girl. There's a baby girl. You see all that green right there? That's algae. That's not grass, that's algae. So for the most part, I'm actually not bothered that I'm not working right now. The lack of income and the state on my professional record, I do mind. But the other stuff I'm not so offended by. The chief was, from what I could tell, a thin-skinned, mercurial, petty, vindictive asshole. And he fired me, or said that at the end of my probationary period, that not to keep me around. Not because I did anything actually wrong. I did not have a whole bunch of paperwork on me. I did not have tardies, did not have disciplinary issues, none of that. He did it because I had embarrassed him. Well, he embarrassed himself, it was just on my behalf. And I had filed a few complaints against him, legitimate complaints. And so I did what I do best, and I filed more complaints against him after that. Pretty sure those are vultures. And it really smells bad over here for the bird shit. More birdies. So earlier in the year, I had to go for a workplace training to a different part of Florida, and it was supposed to be covered in my initial hiring cost. When you first get hired, this course is actually covered in the initial costs. Well, where I was working didn't want to pay for it and tried to make me sign a contract for 1 year saying that I would work there for it was like 1 month for every $100 that was spent on the course. Here's the thing. I filed a complaint against that with the OIG. No known outcome to that. Don't know what happened with that. Then when I got back, here's the thing. They didn't pay for it. They never gave me a travel card like they were supposed to, and I ended up paying for everything out of pocket. My hotel room, the food, gas, everything. And when I got back, I started doing the whole process for reimbursement, and they kept playing games. I ended up saying something to the extent of, I had to pay for this out of pocket. You guys owe me this money. If you don't pay, I have standing to sue. All of a sudden they went, wait, what? What do you mean pay for out of pocket? Yeah, you guys never gave me a credit card. Then they tried to play some game with how I was being disrespectful, and then I said, okay, I'm going to start talking to lawyers. They got real respectful then real quick because they were in the wrong. That was the first major incident. So the first incident was about the travel, them screwing me over and making me sign a contract that was probably not enforceable, a bunch of stuff like that, right? That was the first incident. That should tell you a lot right there. The first of a couple big ones. The next one was I worked the 4th of July like I was supposed to, and I did not get holiday pay for it. I got my regular pay for it. I got my regular, hours and all that, but I did not get holiday pay. So I started asking around going, hey, what's going on with this? At the time, my OIC had actually been suspended and was not working, so I couldn't reach out to her. I reached out to the acting OIC. He never got back to me. I CC'd my lead on the same emails going, hey, what's going on with this? My doggy's pulling. She's pulling right now. She wants to do stuff. She's got a scent. So I hit the OIC, and he didn't do anything. I hit up the admin clerk, who just didn't even answer my emails. So I hit up the union, Union immediately gets involved, goes, hey, why wasn't he paid for this shit? And he's like, oh, well, the chief inexplicably got himself involved in it and tried to say that I did not actually talk to anybody in the chain of command. I immediately replied back with, yes, I did. Would you like to see the emails? So I forwarded him all the emails. A couple of days later, as I go back to work, there's an email saying, hey, this will be addressed. He'll get paid the next check, and the supervisors will be talked to. Look at, she's so gorgeous. I'll give her water here in a moment. Anyways, so the chief basically embarrassed himself needlessly, and he did not like me for that. Later on in the year, we had this all hands meeting that was somewhere between fucking pointless and a complete waste of time. And that's rounding up to a positive. It was not necessary. It didn't solve anything. It didn't have any value to it. Well, he came up and shook my hand, and it was quite obvious he did not want me there. He's enjoying the park. We're about to climb that. Anyways, so where was I? Oh yeah, the chief did not like me. For the most part, I really don't care. He's an asshole, so fuck him. He did it to get back at me. He embarrassed himself on my behalf, and he didn't like it. I've got to stress to you, I really do believe I was terminated for embarrassing him. He called it inappropriate behavior, even though I don't have a slew of paperwork against me. I don't have, attendance or disciplinary issues. And it was just because his retaliation for filing complaints. So I did file more complaints against him. I went to the OSC, the OIG, 2 Congress people, the one who represents where I was working, and the one who represents me, because I was driving over an hour just to get to work. That sucked. I don't miss that at all. Look at that. It's just fucking gorgeous. That's just Florida for you. Now, it does suck getting fired, because that is a stain on your professional record and all that. It shows you some hypocrisy behind 2-week notices and shit like that, where they'll fire you without any warning, but you have to give 2 weeks if you're going to leave. And I would have preferred to leave on my feet rather than being thrown out on my ass. But overall, I actually don't miss the job. I did not like working overnight. Did not like any of that. It was driving over an hour each way for a GS5 job. Just sit in some dark room, staring at computer screens all night. I missed sunlight. I missed going out to parks with my doggy. I missed all that. And so I realized I don't care. I am fighting this so I can get my record cleaned up. Maybe get some of them in trouble because they are a bunch of fucking cunts. But the reality is, I don't mind not working there anymore. I would love to see them get in trouble for what they did, because I promise you, or at least the way I see it, that it was done in retaliation for me filing complaints against them. It was retaliation against me, and they need to be punished for that. But I don't want the job back. So the question is, what next? And that's what I've been thinking about a lot. Right now I am trying to get my record cleared because it was a bullshit firing, and I need to get it fixed. I don't miss the job. Don't miss much about it. The silence from my former co-workers is deafening. Not one of them have reached out to me, so I can tell none of them miss me, and I don't really care. Meaning it's even easier to have that clean break. And I am waiting on the finality of those complaints that I did file against the chief in the department. One of the many reasons why the chief is a chicken shit coward is because he did it on a Friday, right before a holiday week. It's November 22nd that I got basically fired. He did that to fuck me. And he knew full well no one was going to investigate for the whole next week. So it's been about 2 weeks now. Hopefully there'll be something back, at least from the OSC, the Office of Special Counsel, and it'll get fixed. But in the meantime, I'm just going to cash out all my vacation time, and I don't care. I'm done there. but hopefully the chief gets fucked in the process too. So I'm still thinking about what I'm doing next. It will not be with my previous employer, I can tell you that much. I have a friend who's asking me to move closer to her, and I'm genuinely considering it. Like, as in kind of planning on it. Tampa hasn't been bad. It's just been kind of a bummer. And because of my job, much like living in Houston, the job sucked and I hated it, and the place then sucked overall. Working overnight in a job that wasn't really worth a fuck, hated by a department that doesn't care about us, and not getting paid a lot, really wasn't worth it. So what happens next is what happens next. In the meantime, I've had my fun, and I'll figure out what to do next. It's December 7th. While it was about 40 something degrees last night, right now it's high 60s. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I took my doggy to the park, and it's a beautiful park, by the way. So the job I did have up until about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, was just there so that way I could find a way to get back to Florida. Now I'm back in Florida. And the job was kind of a bummer, working overnight. So it served its purpose. And I'm just thinking about my future right now. About 3.5 years ago, I left Orlando for Houston after a very tumultuous and painful time that I don't go into too much depth in because it's actually a very, very big thing to unpack. Did not like Houston at all. Decided to come back to Florida, so I got the job that I did. Did not like the job. Well, I liked the job. I didn't like the other stuff around, like the hour-long drive each way, the shitty leadership, all that stuff. I didn't like that. A friend is asking me to move back to the Orlando area, and I'm heavily considering it. I keep going back up there, and, well, we fuck. It's good. But here's the thing, is that I don't know what my future holds, and I realized, like, the problem I had with Orlando, much like with Houston, was transit, driving buses. That shit sucked. I don't miss that at all. I didn't mind the job I was doing, I just didn't like everything associated with it, with the one that I just got fired from. But I'm happy to be back here in Florida. I am, unfortunately, restarting my transition because I kind of didn't have meds for a very long time due to the horribleness of the VA out in Houston. And there's a lot that I'm thinking about. The big one is, like, what do I do next and why? If I end up back in Orlando, I'm actually not offended by it. But I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen, but I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Enjoy this very, very beautiful shot. This is just Florida right here. This is just the beauty of Florida. Man, this is just a beautiful doggy. I love my Piccoletta.